We're never going to stop until killer cops are in cell blocks. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for all victims. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And sorry that we're starting kind of late, but I was waiting for my special guest that brought some friends. I don't know, I mean, everybody's familiar with Mark Steiner, and you should be familiar with these beautiful people, Stephanie. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is West Wednesday. This is our 223rd week of fighting tirelessly for accountability. Because at the end of the day, I really feel like there is no justice. It's just us trying to change things, work on changing these laws that basically keep killer cops safe and keep us unsafe. And that's what basically we've been out here about. We never ever missed a West Wednesday, and I don't intend on ever missing one, regardless of the weather. Because at the end of the day, they don't take the time to think, well, should I go and murder this guy or this child or this grandmother today? So why should I think about if the weather's, comfortable? So they're comfortable with killing us, and that's just my point. And in case anybody don't know what happened to my brother Tyrone West, I always start West Wednesday off by bringing you one of many stories. And the first one on the top of my list is my big brother Tyrone West, who was brutally executed on July 18, 2013 by 11 to 15 Baltimore City police officers and one Morgan State officer. And till this day now, 223 weeks, 1,551 days later, no one's still held accountable. All right, I'm Brother Church. I'm glad to see London. I'm glad to see everybody. JC's on him. I'm glad to see everybody. So, just to let y'all know that he was brutally murdered. And the saddest part, he had just left me, and within a half an hour, he was pulled by my Mercedes-Benz that he borrowed for no reason. The only thing my brother did wrong was giving someone a ride. A good deed turned into the worst nightmare for my family's life. He was executed in broad daylight with video footage. It was a dozen or more witnesses out there, and nobody was held accountable. In fact, the way he was brutally murdered is not even worse than the cover-up, and that's the part that does not sit well with me. That's the part that inspired us from day one to do West Wednesday. Because at the end of the day, we knew something wasn't right. Immediately, I knew, had it not been for the grace of God letting me feel my brother's pain when he was being tortured at exactly 7 o'clock in Baltimore City, I felt pain on my left side of my neck. It was horrible. And the pain lasted maybe 10 minutes, and at that moment, I jumped up off my bedroom floor because that pain was so excruciating that I fell onto the floor. And when I jumped back up, I realized, oh my God, something's wrong with my brother. And at that moment, my family thought I was crazy. I started calling them, something's wrong with Tyrone. When I called his phone over 20 times and he didn't answer, I knew. And then it was confirmed on the 10 o'clock news that he was executed. We saw several witnesses saying how they didn't understand how one unarmed man could be brutally murdered. And then, of course, the police version of what happened is totally different from the credible eyewitnesses that didn't know my brother from a can of paint. The police version is that first they started off by saying Mr. West just basically dropped dead. Not that the officers brutally executed him, that he just fell out and died. And then they tried to later say 5 months later, they tried to lie and say that my brother had a heart attack and suffered from dehydration and linked it to the hot weather. But let's think about this. Think about all those killer cops that murdered my brother that was dressed in full gear. They had on vests. They had on so much gear. Way more gear than what my brother had on. Let's mind you. Let me tell you what my brother had on. He had on a tank top. He had on a black pair of shorts, an ankle pair of socks, and a pair of tennis shoes. That's what my brother had on. But you talking about killer cops that had on bulletproof vests and all type of layers of gear, and they murdered my brother. So one would have to think if they're kind of claim that the weather contribute to my brother passing out and just dying. What about these killer cops that were dressed in full gear? Why didn't they pass out and die with them? Foolishness. And that's the stuff that they expect us to do is believe their narrative, and they want to stick with it no matter how many facts come out, they always stick with the police narrative. 4 years later, I done proved that everything that they said was a lie. It came down in the motion of discovery phase. It came down. It came down, A, that they claimed that my brother had a bunch of drugs in his socks and his pants. They claimed that he had on pants. They can't even lie right. They claimed that he had on pants, and when he sat on the curb, that his pants leg slid up, and they noticed a bulge in his socks. That they later said that it was some drugs, which was a lie. Last year, let's be clear about that, this year, when my attorneys went to go and get these alleged so-called drugs, there were never none submitted, never none tested. That whole thing, that whole reason was a lie. Everything was a lie. Just like the medical examiner's office said, oh, he died of a heart attack and dehydration. Well, I got my brother's body examined last year. And it was clearly what we heard from day one. He died from positional asphyxiation. He was smothered by a 315-pound man named David Lewis, who smothered my brother. And not only was he smothered, he was tortured out there. Pepper spray tased, he was murdered. Let's be crystal clear. And even with these facts, they're still playing the dog and pony game. And I'm sick of it. Quite frankly, I'm sick of it. But I just think that West Winds is very important because in this case, we find out that these killer cops are not angels, that they wasn't just like this, that something that just didn't go bad. This, in fact, this was a targeted attack, okay? Let's be crystal clear. They had blood on their mind, and my brother was the victim. They tried to victimize Tyrone West 24 hours. Nicholas David Chapman and Officer Ruiz and Omar. They tried to kill Tyrone West. That didn't work. Tyrone West was able to get someone in his car, the passenger, to call for backup. And that's what ultimately saved Tyrone West, like 24 hours. But had we not been doing West Wednesday, we wouldn't have knew about Tyrone West. And I'll take you one further. Let's talk about July the 1st, 2013, Abdul Salam, a resident of the same community that my brother was executed in. Whereas though Abdul Salam had a face, he had a voice, he had his baby in the backseat of the car, and I believe those three factors saved Abdul Salam's life. Let alone a 75-year-old woman got out her house and she told Omar, Ruiz, and Chapman not to throw another blow, don't put your hands on. She put her body in front of Abdul Salam to reassure that he wasn't going to get murdered. And the saddest part, what did they do in that case? Nothing. They rewarded that dude with some monetary, which to me wasn't anything. Because it's not about the income, it's about the outcome. Making sure Chapman, Ruiz, and all of them killer cops don't get away with murder. They belong in a cell block. Let's be crystal clear. And just like they took something from my family, they can never get back. I don't even know what to say to my mom, to my aunt that helped raise us. I don't know what to tell her. And this is taking a total toll on her. This is taking a total toll on her. I don't want her to end up like Anthony Anderson's mom. And that's why y'all haven't seen her out here. It's not that she don't care, that she walked away. Let's be clear. She would never walk away. What mother could walk away from something that happened horrendous to their child? No one. She's just not strong enough right now to come on here. So I ask the rest of my family, please stay with her and make sure she's fine. While I'm on, because she feels bad that she can't physically be out here. But I told you, you had the Tyrone West to see you get better. It's about your health right now. It's not about nothing else right now. So I told the parents so that they wouldn't make her feel bad by them coming out, and she feel like she needs to mosey up in here and not in the best of health to come up here. No, don't do that. Get better. And then come up here because I need you to chew out these killer cops. I'm going to hold it down. I gave them my word. I got it. I'm going to hold it down. And I mean it. And I don't care if it takes 10, 20 years from now. I'm never going to stop talking about my brother. And somebody eventually is going to open my brother's case back up. Y'all mark my words on this day because I'm not playing with nobody. See, they thought it was a simple, open-shut case that they could walk away, do their thing. Not in this case. You killed the wrong man, but you truly have the right family. A family that's going to fight you the right way, the peaceful way, put you out there type of way. I'm not playing with these people. These tears are real. When the cameras go away, we're the ones that can't sleep at night. We're the ones torn forever. And they get to go home and be with their families. They get to go home and do wonderful things that I can never do again with my brother. That he can never do again with his kids or his grandkids. I don't know what to say to his kids. His beautiful daughter not too long ago, a couple months, just had a baby. I don't know what to say to her. What can I say to her? The only thing I can do is try to be the best aunt that I can do. That's it. That I can be. That's it. But it's just said, but I can reassure them that I'm going to hold somebody accountable. Somebody's going to go down. And I think, to be honest, every last person in this case needs to go down, including the medical examiner's office. Because it's the conscious conspiracy to obstruct justice. Be crystal clear. That report was broke. That foolishness, those little sappy, flimsy pages, those little pages that left out any autopsy pictures, let's be clear, it was done for a reason. It wasn't that, oh, they're so incompetent, they don't know how to do an autopsy. No, hell no. One would be stupid if they believed that foolishness. It was something purposely done to get those damn killer cops off. And they thought, see, where they messed up at, when they was squirming around for the 5 months, trying to see how they was going to cover this thing up. Because you know it took 5 months to give us that foolishness. And I gave it right back to them. And I want Bruce Goldfarb to tell me to take back something I said. Bruce Goldfarb, go to hell with a pair of gasoline drawers on D-bags. I'm not taking nothing back. Because before it's all over, I want all of them to go down. Every last one of them. The medical exams, I want the doctors at Good Sam who lied for them and said that my brother was still alive when he got to Good Sam. My brother was dead on Kentmore and Causeway. Witnesses can tell you that. Batts and all of them, Commissioner Batts came out there at the time, knocked on people's doors and snatched cell phone video footage. That's why you don't see the, oh my goodness, and what we saw in Freddie Gray's case. What made people say, oh my goodness, I can't believe that, you know, we know that Freddie Gray didn't kill himself. Well, it was crystal clear that he was in pain. Just imagine if y'all would have saw the brutal execution of Tyrone West, these videos that they're still holding and hiding. They wouldn't even give us a full autopsy report. We wasn't even good enough for any autopsy pictures. Well, let's be clear. They don't have pictures, but I do. I took pictures of my brother's body where they tore my brother apart. And I'm not talking about just no autopsy pictures where they do the little cute little X or whatever. No. I'm talking about cutting his skin, pulling skin back off his neck, pulling skin off his legs. He wasn't a damn skin donor. He wasn't even a donor. I'm talking about all the corrupt. I'm talking about when they broke in my brother's house. 2 days later, someone broke in my brother's house after he was murdered. And the crazy part, that same ID card that's in Nicholas Davis Chapman foolishness of their report, oh, Mr. West showed us his driver's license. Yeah, I have that driver's license. How the hell do I have that? Nobody can answer none of these damn questions. They want to make it seem like we're crazy, we're incompetent, we're the fools. No! Answer these questions. If that's in the report, then I know it's to be true because he did have his driver's license. How in the hell did I get it? And what robber do you know breaks in someone's home and sets their clothing and possessions out on the street? Who does that? Who does that? And accidentally dropped his driver's license. I found, and that's how they found out where he lived at doing his driver's license, and that's why they went there. That's exactly why they went there. To cover their hind parts. But where they messed up at, they dropped his driver's license, and I had it. And then where they messed up at, witnesses in the neighborhood told me, oh, so-and-so got your brother TV down the street. I'm like, oh, did they break him up on this? They said, no. But they woke up 2 o'clock in the morning, your brother's stuff was sitting out on the lawn. Who breaks in a man's house and sets TVs and clothing and all types of pots and pans and things of that nature outside? No one. Killer cops do. I can tell you that. Killer cops do. Let's be crystal clear. No one can explain that. No one can even explain that when we buried my brother, may he rest in peace. But he will never rest until I get this good accountability. But who can explain that when we got his body examined, my brother's body was flew out to Alabama. When we last saw my brother, he was laying in Brown's funeral home at his funeral at the church. I'm sorry, he went to Brown's funeral, then we had him transported to our church when we had the funeral services. But at our church, his last sermon ever, he had on black. But ironically, he just flew out to Alabama last year with a damn yellow shirt on. No one can explain this to me. And it's not like, okay, one would think, well, maybe over the years the shirt faded. Well, if that's the case, why the hell the pants were still bright white? It was a complete yellow shirt. And then the crazy part, we bought him his daughter bought him a suit jacket, but at the time, the funeral director said that he couldn't fit because we gave him the wrong size. We gave him my uncle's size. We thought, we tried to like size him up to my uncle that's about his size, but it was too small. But ironically, he flew out to Alabama. He has on a black suit jacket now. The one that couldn't fit, the one that they gave back. I don't know where he got this damn black jacket from. But he had a black jacket and a yellow shirt. No one can explain this. So I say all this to say, the cover-up is horrible. And I'm letting you know, if we don't fight the system, just imagine all the other stuff that they're covering up. And this is the stuff that's like touchy that nobody wants to talk about. People want to, and then when people hear them, they think, well, maybe these people going crazy or they're trying to like exaggerate. No, I'm not exaggerating nothing. I couldn't make this stuff up. I had proof. If it's not in black and white, if you can't prove it, then you had no case. I can show you graphic pictures. And I want somebody to explain why was he hacked up. Okay? I can show you my brother's driver's license. I can show you the doctor's report that said he had on the yellow shirt. And how? I said my cousin took pictures of my brother laying dead in Alabama with a damn yellow shirt on. Because he called me like, what the hell is he doing with a yellow shirt on? It was disturbing to him. So this one was the and I can show you the picture of him in the casket at his funeral with the black shirt on. So this is something they can't explain and they don't want to explain, because when you open this Pandora box, everybody got to fall. That's why they're trying to tiptoe around. They can tiptoe all night, all day. I'm going to still be out here, and I'm going to make sure that they do something. So if Marilyn Mosley and them decide that they're not going to do nothing, her time will be up soon. Somebody will. And don't let these politicians come in telling you that story. Like we had the mayor show up in a West Wednesday before we were, and now she don't know me. This lady don't know me now. I got pictures with her holding up my brother damn Samba. Ironically, she don't know Tyrone West. She don't know Tawanda Jones. They get amnesia, okay? Let's be crystal clear. But this is the type of stuff we need to remember when it's time to get them back in office. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people say, well, voting don't mean nothing. It does mean a lot. It means a lot to me, because just like had it not been for my family getting Greg Bernstein out of office and Marilyn Mosley in office, we wouldn't even see anything in Freddie Gray's case, even though we didn't still get the result we wanted. But at least something happened. To where as though finally, but I still put that on the uprising. Because had CBS not burned down, they wouldn't have did a goddamn thing. And it's sad when material items get burned down and stuff like that happens, then they get shook and scared and they won't pretend. And that's what they're doing. And speaking of pretending, I'm going to this reform on Saturday, and I'll let whoever come up next or whatever, or anybody that shared the flyer with, and it's a police reform that I'm going to Saturday. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'll definitely be there, because it's basically talking about what happens when the camera goes up. What happens, the same thing, it gets worse. And I hope the commissioner shows up there. I don't know if he's supposed to be there, but I know somebody says it's supposed to be from Baltimore City Police Department. I'm going to look this joker in the eye and tell him, stop playing. They got the right one on the panel, because they're not going to tell me what I can and can't say, or I won't be a panelist. Because this pain is real. And I'm not going to bullcrap nobody for nobody. You couldn't write me a check fat enough to sell my brothers and sisters out. We have too many coons now doing that for us. We don't need no more. And if anybody is still selling us out right now, shame on you. So when bad stuff starts happening to you, don't wonder why. Because what go around, come around. And maybe my family today, and maybe Anthony Anderson family today, Freddie Gray, Tamir Rice, the list goes on, right? Gary Hall, Gary Hopkins, the list goes, too many names. I can't even recall all of them. You get bait, and the sick part about the games, and I'm going to end on this note, and I'm going to give y'all time to talk, because I can go on all night, because this pain is real. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say, in the case of the baby who had the broom, what's his name? Because I don't want to mess up the baby name. Christopher. What was his name? Was it Christopher?
The one that was shot by the police?
Yeah, shot by the police.
They had the fake gun?
Yeah. No, he had no fake. I ain't talking about no fake gun. I'm talking this boy went to my sister's brother. That's his mother.
Oh, I don't know.
And I think his name was Christopher.
Okay.
But sorry if I got it wrong. But this is so many victims. But the poor baby was going through the death of losing some cousins and a sibling. and through a car accident, a horrible tragedy. So then imagine a 14-year-old baby throwing a tantrum, his older brother get murdered in a car accident along with another family member. That's horrible. I couldn't even imagine that like that. So his mother at the time was a correctional officer. And she's like, you know what, let me call my sisters in blue and we can de-escalate the problem. They can just come out and talk. So even though she was a correctional officer and not a city cop, but they still sisters and brothers. They're still in the law enforcement realm. So with that being said, she called. And what did they do? The officer that came in there, he picked on this little boy, tortured him and everything, like kept teasing him, calling them names, all that. Even once they called it out, they cleared the code, but everything is cool. And the officer supposed to leave, and the mother asked, she had her grandbaby at the time, in her hand, she asked them, please leave my home. What did they do? And the crazy part, when I brought this story up, let me show you how dirty. And I didn't know that my attorneys, the White Patty and them represented them, and that was a case that they lost. I just found that out. So now I see why, in my brother's case, they, because it's sad that good, excellent lawyers have to say, we got to weigh and tear this, because if we go into the courtroom, it could backfire in our face. And that's sad. And they're excellent lawyers. I still get them kudos. They work diligent and hard 4 years for my family, pulling out truths and everything. And they work for a lot of families, so I get them. They've been working for Keith Davis Jr., who just was railroaded. So they're excellent. I give them kudos. But I said all this to say, I didn't know how dirty and corrupt the system was. Do you know they had the nerve to go into this little boy's record back when he was in kindergarten, where he tossed a pencil at another student, and they used that. And them damn officers got off. Are you kidding me? They had the nerve to offer that mother $10,000 for her baby. They don't give a damn about us. They don't. So if anybody is cooning and playing this game with these devils, this ain't the time. You gotta pick a side. If you're on the right side or you're on the wrong side. But if you're on their side, smiling up in their face and pretending with that what they're doing is cool, you might as well stay over there with them. Don't come on our side. You're not welcome over here. This is real. I never thought it could happen to Tyrone. So don't be like my family. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to me. It's real. The retaliation is real. From them turning up my cars to threatening phone calls to everything. But it's not going to stop me. It's going to keep on inspiring me to go further and further and further until we do assure some type of criminal case to a criminal prosecution. That is my dream. That's my goal. That'll be the day that when y'all see that, I want y'all to spread it with everybody in the world and say that sister wouldn't give up because I am my brother's keeper. Thank y'all. Love y'all.